What is going on, Knicks? What is going on, Knicks Nation? It is Anthony. I'm here joined by Chris. It is another live stream. Today is Thursday, September 28th. We have some possible Knicks rumors, some Jrue Holiday rumors that we're going to talk about today. And Chris, I don't know if they're ready for our thoughts about this, but I'm not sure if the most Knicks fans share, our same thoughts, but we'll see. What's going on, Chris?
Exciting, man. Exciting times. I mean, Dame finally got traded, not to the Heat, but to the Milwaukee Bucks.
Yep.
Insane, man. I mean, I know we're gonna dive into the aftermath of it all with Drew Holiday and all that, but like, what are your thoughts on that trade, man?
A Jrue Holiday trade to the Knicks. All right, it is time in my eyes for the New York Knicks to do something. Jrue Holiday is now available, and to me, this is a perfect piece for the New York Knicks. This is my opinion. I'm sure Chris will give his as well, but Jrue Holiday is the perfect acquisition for the New York Knicks, right alongside of Jalen Brunson. Now, you would have to give up essentially Emmanuel Quickly, which sucks, but the New York Knicks have not paid Emmanuel Quickly yet. So is that a savvy move? Did they do that on purpose? Hey, I mean, if it's looking like they may still, extend him if this Jrue Holiday trade doesn't get done. But this is why you prolong the process in extending a player. So the Knicks haven't extended Emmanuel Quickly. Obviously, Emmanuel Quickly would possibly go to the Portland Trailblazers, and then you would have to add in a hostage in Evan Fournier going to the Portland Trailblazers because apparently the New York Knicks are holding him hostage. So and
That's
then
right.
you would have to add in like an Isaiah Hartenstein or something like that. Probably Hartenstein, and that would be it. And the trade would work for Jrue Holiday, and then you give them one pick, two picks, whatever picks they would like. But Chris, in my opinion, the New York Knicks should definitely explore this. We'll touch on some audio that we heard earlier today too. Brian Windhorst said that the New York Knicks will get involved. Obviously, you have the Eastern Conference teams are in on this. Boston Celtics are in on this. The Philadelphia 76ers are in on this. The Indiana Pacers, I've heard, are in on this. And part of the reason why you acquired Jrue Holiday is to also block Miami Heat, a Boston Celtics, Philadelphia 76ers. So, Chris, that's just my little open. I would like the New York Knicks to explore it. What are your thoughts? What do you think? What are you thinking right now? Is it a good trade? Do you want them to explore Jrue Holiday? Let us know. Let Knicks Nation know.
Yeah, hell yeah. Drew Holiday, I think let's be real, he's not a perfect fit only for the Knicks, but any of those teams you just mentioned, Boston, Philly, the Heat, I mean, Pacers, whoever team you put him on, this guy, he's gonna fit perfectly. And I think that this is the time the Knicks need to make a move. We have all these assets. And, you might hear people say, oh, we already got Jalen Brunson, Emmanuel Quickly, we got all these guards. Why are you going to add Drew Holiday? Well, in my opinion, he answers a lot of questions that a lot of people have on the Knicks. Mostly the size front, because you plug in Drew Holiday and he's a bigger guard. He can defend well. And although he's not a knockdown 3-point shooter, he can score the ball, man. And I just think it's worth it. I mean, like you mentioned, Emmanuel Quickly has not been extended yet. So he's eligible to be traded still at this point in time. And if you're telling me that you just got to give up Emmanuel Quickly, which hurts, don't get me wrong. Everybody here knows that I love Emmanuel Quickly. I want the Knicks to extend them.
Yeah.
But if you got the chance to bring in a Drew Holiday and it's going to cost you Emmanuel Quickly, iHeart, and Evan Fournier, the hostage, and maybe a pick or two, come on, man. That seems like a no-brainer to me. And on top of that, you stop another team such as the Celtics, who got rid of Marcus Smart. You know, come on. You're telling me if the Celtics sign Drew Holiday, if they get Drew Holiday in a trade after giving up Marcus Smart and add a KP and all the pieces they did, come on. You're not telling me that's scary? We can't let these teams improve even more and just stand pat. I think we need to go out and get Drew Holiday.
That's part of the main reason why I feel like the Knicks should be exploring this, man. Because if Jrue Holiday were to go to a Boston, or even if he were to go to a Miami Heat team that is already, look, Miami Heat lost a lot of pieces, but Miami can literally take someone off the G League team and he can shoot 40% from three in the playoffs like they did. So that's a big part of the reason too. And essentially you wouldn't look, Emmanuel quickly. I know it'll suck to see him go, but you're essentially replacing him with Jrue Holiday, playoff experience, is a dog in the playoffs, won a championship, has been there, done that, no questions asked, is a Tom Thibodeau type of player. If you were to grow a player in a lab, Jrue Holiday is that type of player that Tom Thibodeau, I'm sure, would love to coach. And if you essentially pick up a Jrue Holiday, your starting five would essentially be Brunson, Jrue Holiday, Barrett, Randall, and then Mitchell Robinson, and then your bench would still be Josh Hart, Quentin Grimes. You slide him off the starting role, and you slide him on the bench, and then you still have Dante DiVincenzo. But you would be small if you're giving up a Isaiah Hartenstein. Maybe the Knicks can sign another center here. But the trade package that I came up with. Let me just bring up this screen for them, Chris. All right, so here is the trade package that I came up with. The Knicks get Jrue Holiday, Jabari Walker from the Portland Trail Blazers, and the Blazers receive Emmanuel Quickley, first-round pick. They'll probably want another first-round pick, Evan Fournier, and Isaiah Hartenstein. A question that I brought up on Twitter, Chris, is if you're Leon Rose and you see Jrue Holiday go to the Milwaukee Bucks, a couple of weeks ago it was rumored that Giannis was unhappy, spoke publicly that he was unhappy. Then what happened after that? All the Knicks rumors came out. Oh, the Knicks are going to wait for Giannis. The Knicks are going to wait for Giannis. He's coming. Giannis Antetokounmpo's coming. We can't wait. A couple of years back, 3 years back, Chris, weren't we waiting on Damian Lillard? If I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Weren't we waiting on throwing another superstar in that mix as well?
Yeah.
I can't wait. Like, I look, I want to be patient. I understand. I'll play the clip that Brian Woodhorse said that you would essentially be adding to your assets instead of subtracting by gaining a Jrue Holiday, So,
yeah,
you get what I'm saying? Like, eventually you cannot just hope that Luka Doncic is going to be unhappy in Dallas and he's going to want to force his way to the New York Knicks. Because Damian Lillard tried forcing his way to the Miami Heat, and then look what happened. Another team stepped in, offered a better package, and such and such. So,
yeah, times are changing, in my opinion. Stars are always going to try to go where they want to go. They're going to try to force trades wherever they want to go. And in this case, Dame wanted the Heat, but we saw it. The Blazers were like, "Hey, we respect you. We thank you for everything you've done for us, but we're going to go out there and get the best possible deal we can." And if that takes waiting until, the last week before training camps kick off, so be it. And that's exactly the way it played off. And we all here thought Dame was going to the Heat. And then that mystery team popped up, and it just so happened to be the Milwaukee Bucks. But going back to what you were saying about waiting for these, all-stars, these superstars to become available or disgruntled and then available, you don't know what's going to happen. I mean, look, Giannis didn't even get the chance to basically, he just mentioned, "Hey, I'm leaving you guys if you guys basically don't show me that you're trying to compete." And bam, the Bucks went out and got Damian Lillard right away. And there goes Giannis. There goes the dreams of getting Giannis, in a Knicks jersey. And to be honest, I mean, the same could happen with Embiid. The same could happen with Donovan Mitchell if you want to put them in the conversation.
Yeah.
These stars, they could be disgruntled one day. The team adds somebody they like, and there goes any hopes of signing that player. So how long are we going to wait?
Yeah, which is, sorry to cut you off, but which is why the 76ers are in the mix for Jrue Holiday. So let's say the 76ers, they do a 3-team deal with the Clippers. They ship off James Harden to the Clippers. They get Jrue Holiday to the 76ers. Now you essentially have another star with Joel Embiid, and now Joel Embiid is essentially happy. So, a lot of people were pointing to who's that next big fish. Obviously, Giannis is quote unquote happy now, whether or not he wants to sign a long term extension for the Milwaukee Bucks. I'm sure the chances of that went up since they acquired freaking Damian Lillard. I mean, you look at the East now, it's the Bucks. It's, the Miami Heat are up there. You're obviously going to have Boston up there. It's very top heavy. I brought it up in the last podcast, but yeah, man. I mean, I feel like let's just play this Adrian Wojnarowski clip, not Adrian Wojnarowski, Brian Windhorst clip from the Hoop Collective podcast.
Again, this is just me thinking about this over the last hour, but you think Tom Thibodeau would like to coach Jrue Holiday? Think that'd be a pretty nice fit. He'd be a pretty great fit. They were not a Dame team because they had Jalen Brunson. Jrue Holiday fits great next to Jalen Brunson.
He's the exact kind of fit that you want alongside Jalen Brunson.
Well, now there's a team with draft capital.
Yeah, and here's the thing. They're being patient with it, okay? We talked a lot about the possibility of Giannis. The Embiid possibility is still out there. I would assume that Giannis is going to at least be satisfied for a little bit here. In other words, not be on the potential block next summer. Is cashing some of that in for Jrue Holiday and diminishing your odds of being able to potentially pull off a Joel Embiid deal? Is that worth it for the Knicks?
I mean,
maybe you don't. Maybe you wouldn't be diminishing it. Maybe you'd be strengthening it. I will say this: the one thing about the Knicks, they have terrific salary, tradable salary right there with Evan Fournier.
Yep.
They, Emmanuel Quickley is an incredible potential sweetener that you could put in there in addition to draft capital. I mean, we're arguing over how Boston, Philly, and the Clippers might have to scrape together something. The Knicks can put together a compelling package and still leave a bulk of their assets. I mean, there's, the one thing that, Bontemps and I have talked about this, I know privately, I can't remember if we said it publicly. I think the Knicks have the ammunition to make two, depending on how they handle their business, to make 2 star player trades. And this is an example. And, you have to decide whether Jrue Holiday fits your team's timeline, because Jrue Holiday is in his 30s. But I think the Knicks should seriously look at this. The other thing is,
that's another thing, Chris. So that was from the Hoop Collective. Does he fit our timeline? Jrue Holiday is in his 30s, like they stated. Obviously, our starting 5 is, Brunson's in his 20s. Right now, Grimes is in his 20s. RJ Barrett is super young. Julius Randle is, 28? Mitchell Robinson is in his 20s. So does Jrue Holiday fit our timeline? You side Jrue Holiday in that starting shooting guard slot, and he's in his 30s. But I'm telling you guys, I mean, with Jrue Holiday in our starting lineup, we become a contender, man. Does he fit? Do you think he fits the timeline?
I think he does, only because, again, you have Jalen Brunson on such a good contract that I feel like, why not take the chance, Yeah. But outside of that, even, I mean, in my opinion, and this goes all the way to Embiid, really, if you get Jrue Holiday and, Embiid's still going to be out there. And Jrue Holiday, who did he play with before? I mean, he has a relationship with Embiid.
Yeah.
I mean, if anything, that adds more to it. If you let a team like the 76ers get Jrue Holiday, who's to say Embiid's not like, hey, we got this guy back. I know he's a good worker, star potential. A star.
Yeah.
They could just decide to run it back. Maybe James Harden even has a change of thought, who knows? But that could be another scenario where Embiid's like, hey, I'll stay here. We got Jrue Holiday back. We could build on this, I think if the Knicks go out and get Jrue Holiday, it makes you even better favorites for an Embiid if he wants out. But yeah, I think he fits a timetable. And I think he fits well with the Knicks, man. I mean, I just think this is something the Knicks should do. I mean, it's addition by subtraction too, getting rid of IQ. I get it. Knicks fans love IQ, but I think this is the right move to make. And like we just heard, just because you go after Jrue Holiday, let's say you get Jrue Holiday, it doesn't mean we're stuck now. We can't make another trade for a superstar.
Bars.
We have plenty of assets.
That's the key. That's the key right there. Look, I brought up this question. I don't think I tweeted it out. I was about to tweet it out on Knicks Nation, but I was like, you know what? Let me not cause, some turmoil out here. Would you rather pay Emmanuel Quickley $100 million, or would you rather trade him for a Jrue Holiday?
I mean, wow. That if you asked me before Jrue Holiday obviously was available, obviously I'd be like, yeah, sure, IQ for 100. He's on the up and up, in my opinion. He's gonna be a good player in this league.
Is his ceiling a Jrue Holiday?
If everything goes well, I mean, I think he could be, but why take that risk when you can have a proven commodity who's done it and proven it and shown it?
I feel like these are the questions that the Knicks front office is asking themselves now. We had this extension looming with Emmanuel Quickley, or we can include him in a package for essentially what we would like Emmanuel Quickley to turn out to be, a Jrue Holiday. Emmanuel Quickley is like 10 years younger than Jrue Holiday, but at the same time, if you pay Emmanuel Quickley $90 to $100 million, he takes a step back. His usage goes down. Minutes decrease. Now with Dante DiVincenzo here, it's a risk. So you're essentially trading for the proven commodity to compete now. Look, we made it to the second round of the playoffs. We were 2 wins away from the Eastern Conference Finals. I want Knicks fans to remember that. 2 wins away from the Eastern Conference Finals against the Miami Heat, who went all the way to the damn NBA Finals. And what did all of us say? Like, we're just missing that one piece. I'm not sure Jrue Holiday is that piece, but he's a pretty damn good piece, Chris. And you plug him in the starting lineup, and he makes us exponentially better.
Yeah. I mean, you're talking about a guy that can go out there and guard the best player on the other team. I mean, and be effective. And I mean, we got a couple guys that can, do that. I mean, you're talking about somebody who can go in there, and when teams are hunting Jalen Brunson, maybe that's not so much of an issue anymore.
Nope.
Because now you got Jrue Holiday, who can easily switch off with, I mean, I think he fits the Knicks well as far as all the interchangeable parts that we have. I mean, I think that would be a beautiful issue to have, in my opinion, if we were to be able to land Holiday.
Because
it just makes sense on so many levels to me. No, go ahead. You're good.
Because, I'm just so, it gets me excited just the thought of having Jrue Holiday on the Knicks. I just feel like Knicks fans need to remind ourselves, yes, we're trying to also develop our young players. We're trying to develop Emmanuel Quickley, and we're trying to develop RJ Barrett. We're trying to continue to develop a Quentin Grimes. And I just feel like a Jrue Holiday on this team in the starting lineup would make this team exponentially better. And I just feel like if we had a Jrue Holiday versus Miami Heat, Chris, it would have been a different story. Just put it at that. But then, a lot of the haters are going to be like, well, Jimmy Butler, you saw what he did to Jrue Holiday in the first round. But it's totally different scenario, right?
Yeah, in my opinion, it's totally different. I mean, if just thinking from a Knicks perspective, you'd had against Jimmy Butler, who they threw all at him, Josh Hart, Grimes, and you can say the Knicks played the Heat the toughest when it came to the playoffs, right? You throw Jrue Holiday in that mix, and you're telling me that that's not 10 times better. Maybe we, like you said, it'll be if we had a Jrue Holiday last season, it'll be a totally different, story, in my opinion. He's just the type of guy that you can plug in. He doesn't demand the ball. He's not selfish. He's all about the team. And all he's done is win in this league. Another guy who's a hard, scrappy guy, wants to
character,
win,
too.
proving that he's a winner. Great. I heard nothing but glowing reviews on Jrue Holiday across every type of media out there. Like that he's a great person, not only, in the locker room, but just in general in life. And why not add something like that? A veteran presence. I just think he fits so well. I mean, like I said, with any team, but man, that's somebody you want to bring in if you can, in my opinion.
Agreed. Let's have some of these comments. Coach Sierra in the chat says, rather keep IQ. He also says, Holiday is not the player for us. Then he also says, they are playing you to want a player that we do not need. Cameron in the chat, what's going on? I would only say trade for Jrue Holiday if it may be trade Emmanuel Quickley. Yes, if we were trading for a Jrue Holiday, Emmanuel Quickley would have to be in that deal to sweeten the pot a little bit. And then Cameron also says, but the timeline does not fit. Maybe it depends, man. What's your timeline? Like, what is that? What is the timeline? I keep hearing that a lot, right? What is the timeline, Chris? Like last year, second round of the playoffs, the timeline got pushed up. I mean, nobody thought we were going to make the second round of the playoffs. Nobody. And now, what do we want to accomplish this season? Pretty much the same thing, right? We don't want to take a step back. We want to maybe go to the Eastern Conference Finals. So what I keep hearing the timeline. Like I feel like they're equating that with maybe the youth, and maybe they're equating the age, and then maybe they're don't forget, if bringing in a Jrue Holiday in here will also, help out all the other guys as well. I mean, it's not like he's an old chicken. It's not like there's reasons why the Boston Celtics want him, the Miami Heat want him, all of our rivals in the East. There's reasons why they want a Jrue Holiday. And look, also Evan Fournier, man, what are you gonna do with that contract? You just gotta let him, keep him hostage in New York City because he thinks the New York Knicks are keeping him hostage. So you're just going to let that contract expire? You're gonna have to use it in the trade. I mean, unless it's going to expire, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, this is the perfect situation to use an Evan Fournier contract. I mean, you've held on to it for this long, regardless of the comments he's made. This is the perfect opportunity, in my opinion, include his salary in this deal to make things match up, and you walk out with a Jrue Holiday. I mean, that seems like a no-brainer to me, in my opinion. And as far as the timeline goes, I mean,
what's your thought on the timeline?
Resetting.
Yeah,
it seems like it's always resetting. I mean, I think the time is now. Like you said, we made a deep playoff run. Nobody thought we were going to be there. Nobody thought that, we weren't even supposed to make the play-in. But, there we went, right?
Timeline got pushed up.
We had a good playoff run, and that's exactly what happens, Timeline gets sped up, and come on, Jrue Holiday is somebody you want on your team. That's just what it is.
Facts.
And if not just to, if not just to block all the other teams, like you said, every single rival in the Eastern Conference wants Jrue Holiday. And if any of them get him,
it's a problem.
Forget it. It's a problem.
It's a problem.
You're talking about Philly, Boston,
problem. Miami,
the Heat, problem. Hell, even if the Pacers get him, problem.
Yeah. I'd rather him go to Indiana. I wouldn't care.
Yeah, even the Nets might be in there for all we know. But again, I know. Either way, I want the Knicks to be in on this.
Look, the Dame trade to me changed the way the Knicks should view Giannis. Look, Giannis could still be unhappy and still want out, but look, he pretty much called out the Milwaukee Bucks and said, look, get me some help. They got him some help. Obviously, Knicks fans were happy that he called out the Bucks. They were like, look, Giannis is going to be available. Boom. Milwaukee gets some help, and now they're favorites to come out of the Eastern Conference and alongside the Boston Celtics. So, a lot of people, look, timeline, like you just stated, like I stated before, what is, Knicks fans in the chat, what is the timeline? Like when you guys hear timeline, what exactly are you referring to? Are you referring to get a guy in here that matches with our young players' age so they can essentially grow together? Because in the playoffs, RJ Barrett was damn near good, Chris, against the Cleveland Cavaliers, right? Julius Randle was playing amazing until he got hurt. Jalen Brunson has been a god in the playoffs since he's the last 2 seasons ago with the Dallas Mavericks, last season with the New York Knicks. So bringing in a Jrue Holiday in here, I just feel like it makes us a contender in the Eastern Conference, Chris. And I feel like the Knicks should be looking at this. I really do.
Yeah. I think it helps the team a lot, in my opinion. I mean, even as is, if we were able to trade for Jrue Holiday, and you're talking about we're giving up iHeart, we're giving up Quickly, and Evan Fournier, right? To me, that's still a really good Knicks squad. I mean, you obviously need a big to fill in, the hole created by trading Hartenstein, which again hurts.
Let's talk this out. What's the starting five? I mean,
that'd have to be what? Brunson.
Yep.
It would be Holiday. It would be RJ, and then you have Randall and then Mitch. That'd definitely be the starting five right there.
Is that not a contending team in the Eastern Conference?
Absolutely. In my opinion, yes. Absolutely.
What are the downsides of having Jrue Holiday paired with a Jalen Brunson? Is there any downsides? Because people think Jrue Holiday, look, he was getting all NBA votes last season, man. He was that damn good. Yeah. And what are the downsides with having him? If there are any. The downside is just Emmanuel Quickly. That's the downside.
Yeah, I mean, the downside is having to get rid of Emmanuel Quickly, having to get rid of Hartenstein, in my opinion. Jrue Holiday is a really good player, Yeah. He's somebody that defends, which, everyone in New York will love his grittiness. And look, he's not a knockdown three-point shooter by any stretch of the imagination, but he's shown that he can knock down that shot, and that's a big key for us as well. And not only that, most importantly, he's a bigger guard. I think that's the biggest thing that I would love about Jrue Holiday is just his size, because running out there, Brunson, IQ, hell, you can even throw Grimes and DiVincenzo in there as well. We're a pretty small group, including Josh Hart.
Yeah,
if you have Jrue Holiday out there, that's a bigger guard, and that helps. How many times have we seen Brunson get targeted by teams because he's just on the small side? Yeah. Jrue Holiday helped with that immediately. Yep. And let's be real. If Brunson was able to, ever to miss any time, you have a more than capable point guard waiting there to take a spot and just keep the ball rolling. I mean, just the different types of lineups you can throw out there with Jrue Holiday, it gets me excited just thinking about it. But I think it's just a trade that, again, I hope the Knicks really put a good foot forward and try to get this guy on the team.
We'll see, man. I mean, the Knicks fan in me is like, damn well they ain't making this trade because Leon Rose hasn't shown us that he's willing to make trades like this. And I tweeted this out earlier on the Knicks Nation page. I said, eventually I want to see a trade like this from Leon Rose because eventually, all of our glut of guards is going to be an issue. And teams are going to be knocking on the door. Players will regress. Players will improve. You just hope that if you pay Emmanuel Quickly, if you extend him $90 to $100 million, you just hope that he blossoms into the player that we all think he can be. Because if you make this trade for a Jrue Holiday, you're essentially trading for Emmanuel Quickly's ceiling. And who's to say that Emmanuel Quickly would even touch a Jrue Holiday ceiling, right? I mean, I'm not saying that he could be 70, 80% of a Jrue Holiday, and that's still a great player. But this trade, to me, you make it, you still have the assets to go out and get someone else. Because remember, you also still have to have guys on your team to make it an attractive place to go to. I saw something today on Twitter saying that I think CP from Knicks Fans TV saying he heard that Dame didn't even want to come to New York because he didn't want to play with Julius Randle. So whether that's true or not, I don't know. But you also want to have a form of a foundation on your team. You want players on your team that are obviously have connections to other players and want to come to play in New York. Obviously, we have that in Brunson, and hopefully, our status around the league has changed. But he also brings that aspect as well because, look, the downside is Immanuel Quickley. And look, Hartenstein has one more year left on his deal, Chris. Obviously, the Knicks can think about bringing him back and, re-signing him possibly. But the downside is Immanuel Quickley. But like I brought up earlier, would you rather pay Immanuel Quickley $100 million, or would you just trade him alongside a first-round pick for a Jrue Holiday, and with the chance of extending a Jrue Holiday, and in the same time in doing that, making your team better? To me, if I was Leon Rose, I'm doing this. I'm seriously thinking about it because teams in the East are not going to stand pat, Chris. You think the Miami Heat right now aren't they ticked off right now that Damian Lillard went to the Milwaukee Bucks? You think they're just going to sit on their hands and not do anything? So
No way.
All the teams around us, they're not sitting on their hands. I'm not saying the Knicks the Knicks have done a great job. I'm not calling out the Knicks at all. I'm just saying when opportunity presents itself, get it done.
Yeah. I mean, look, we have all these picks. We have all these assets. We have, you keep hearing it across the media. Knicks have great contracts, great tradable contracts. What good is all that, all those assets? What good is it if you're just hoarding them and holding them and waiting for a Giannis?
Again,
We've seen it already.
Yeah.
Now Giannis is not available. You can basically scratch him off the table now that Dame's there. Who's to say, again, we're waiting for Embiid now? If Embiid is unhappy, who's to say the 76ers don't figure out a way to make things better there? And he decides to stay. We're just going to have these picks. And then eventually, we're going to have to either use the picks or trade them. But, I mean, come on. How long are we going to wait to use these assets? In my opinion, this is a no-brainer. This is when you want to use them. Again, not only to block the other teams that are going to get exponentially better with a Jrue Holiday, but, to add a good player that, like you said, players around the league want to play with this guy. Brunson is held in high regard now, too. Another player, that a lot of NBA guys want to play with. That's exactly the type of guy you want to bring in, and he just helps on so many levels. In my opinion, again, no-brainer.
No brainer indeed. Look, you can obviously a lot of Knicks fans. I put out a poll on the YouTube channel saying that if you want the Knicks to acquire Jrue Holiday, simple yes or no, and just answer that poll as well. But obviously, Chris and I would like the New York Knicks to acquire him. Obviously, training camp opens up on Monday. It is Thursday, September 28th, media day. I think media day is on Monday, I believe, and then we start getting rolling, Chris. So a trade will possibly happen this weekend. I'm pretty sure that the Portland Trailblazers are on the phone right now with many teams, and I'm just waiting for that Portland trades Jrue Holiday to the Boston Celtics tweet, and I'm going to go crazy if I see that. I'm gonna go crazy.
Oh man, that would be insane. I mean, you're talking about Boston, who gave up, Marcus Smart for KP,
yep,
and then they essentially replaced Marcus Smart with Jrue Holiday. Come on, you're not telling me that's not a nightmare right there? They basically got a better Marcus Smart, in my opinion, if that were to be the case. So again, it's just, again, you just got to block these teams from getting Jrue Holiday.
Yes,
you got to block them, if not for anything else, And then, hey, if you want to, flip them later on. But in my opinion, hell, even if you want to make it about Embiid, you bring in Jrue Holiday, and you're not telling me Embiid is going to be more excited to want to come to the Knicks with, someone he's played with before, knows what he's about.
Yep.
No
brainer, bro.
Again, no brainer, man.
Part of the reason is to block the Miami Heat as well. But look, being a GM is tough in the NBA. I'm sure they're thinking about everything, and I'm sure that Leon Rose is on the phone with Tom Thibodeau, and I'm pretty sure Tom Thibodeau is like, Jrue Holiday is a great player. I would love him on the team, but it's all about opportunity cost and whether the Knicks want to give away Emmanuel quickly. I don't know if they do or not. Look. They were willing to trade him last season, Chris, before he actually exploded. Remember, they were willing to trade him for a first-round pick. So I'm sure that has shifted. Their mindset has shifted since he's had a great season. Last season, he had a great season. But, they signed DiVincenzo. Now you have Quickly, Josh Hart, Brunson, Grimes, Barrett, all these guards, and something has to give. So like Brian Windhorst said on the Hoop Collective, it's going to be interesting with doing this trade, you can still do another trade. This is not taking us out of a running for that next superstar. And I just feel like this move would be a small pivot into gaining momentum for that next big trade, because that's what we need. Because I feel like we just can't put all of our chips in one basket, and if that player doesn't work out, then we're screwed.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
Baby steps, right? I mean, this is not, giving up the farm. This is not none of that. You still would have a crazy rotation. You still would have crazy depth. Would you be small? Hell yeah. You would be small. You would damn sure be small. I'll tell you that. And obviously we have the Julius Randle switching agencies. So that's interesting as well, man. Being a Knicks fan is something, bro. It's something.
Yeah, there's always something, right? There's always something going on, some news floating around. But yeah, man. I mean, with Jrue Holiday, again, like he's such a good player, man. And again, I'm excited just at the thought of the possibility of him being a Knick. Yeah, man. I mean, I hate to sound like a broken record, but this is something I hope the Knicks really look into. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I couldn't see why the Knicks wouldn't want a player like that.
I'm sure they're looking into it. Go ahead.
Especially when it's not often that a player of this caliber is available just for the Blazers do not want veterans. They don't want star players or anything like that. They want young talent and they want draft compensation.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not every day you get a player of Jrue Holiday's, stature to be available just for a couple picks or hell, salary dumps or whatever the case may be. So, I mean, that's why you got all these teams trying to get in on the party. It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out, man.
That's another thing I brought up about the NBA sort of shifting. The pick market is sort of shifting. Dame Lillard, obviously, he went for Jrue Holiday, and obviously the Blazers are going to reroute Jrue Holiday, so they will garnish more picks, but 1 first-round pick and like 2 unprotected pick swaps. So the Knicks, look, we have all our picks. Eventually, you're not going to select all those players, right? I mean, you got to use them wisely. So we'll see what happens, if the Knicks are involved in this. If I do think that I've heard that the 3-team trade involving the Clippers and the Trailblazers and the 76ers is gaining steam, so that would suck. But obviously James Harden does not want to be in Philly. We'll end it off with a question that I have for you, Chris. Where do you see the Knicks in the East, man? I mean, now that Dame goes to Milwaukee, do you see us competing with them at all? On paper, they're great, but on the court, it's a different story.
I'll always say, hey, when you make a big adjustment like that, it takes time to gel. I mean, is it a more natural fit to have someone like a Dame playing alongside a Giannis?
Yeah.
They're not really clashing, in my opinion. I think it'll be a quicker gel, in my opinion. But who knows, anything can happen. I mean, it's not like Dame hasn't gotten hurt. Not that I'm wishing that Dame gets hurt or anything. Just the history is there. Dame hasn't stayed as healthy as he possibly could. And, Giannis has a couple hiccups here and there. It's hard to say, but as far as the Knicks competing, I mean, the Knicks have always had trouble against the Bucks, and that was without Dame. So, I
Yeah.
mean, again, if the Knicks have Jrue Holiday, man, and we're going up against the Bucks, you're not gonna think Jrue Holiday is gonna want to step up and guard Dame
Yep.
Lillard, guard. You know, we're talking about a player who said what a couple days ago that he wanted to be a Buck for life. He didn't want to play anywhere else, and then poof, he's gone.
It's a cold
I
world,
mean,
man. It's a cold
yeah,
league.
man.
It's a cold league out here, man. That was
But
crazy.
yeah, no,
that you said that.
The Bucks, yeah, that was insane. But the Bucks, man, they're gonna be.
A problem.
I mean, they kept their core. They still have Chris Middleton. They still got Brooke Lopez. I mean,
Bobby
that team
Portis.
is gonna be, yeah, Bobby Portis, ex Nick. That team is gonna be a problem, man. I mean, I still have the Knicks in the 4 to, I'll say the 3 to 5 range, in my opinion. I mean, I really think it's wide open outside of, I guess you could say the Celtics and the Bucks, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it is wide open, and depending where the other shoe drops, it's going to be, something to watch because Evan Fournier is coming out with his hostage comment saying the New York Knicks are holding him hostage. And look, Evan Fournier, what I want to say to Fournier is just go into training camp and compete. You don't have to. I get that you want to be traded, and I get that you don't want to be a New York Knick anymore. Look, he's making what, $18 million a year. I'm pretty sure that he'll be happy in New York, living in New York, making that much money. And I get that he wants to play. But right now, the Knicks I'm sure they're trying to find trade avenues. And right now, it's interesting that those comments came out right before the Jrue Holiday news. So maybe Fournier thinks something's up in that. Maybe, look, go to Portland and, play your ass off over there. So I don't know, Chris. We'll see. If you were to give me a percentage on it, whether or not I think the New York Knicks will do this, I'd give it a 35% chance. I'm hoping it's a 50-50 chance, but we've seen the way Leon Rose does business, Chris, and this is not something that it seems like he'll dabble in. Hope I'm wrong, because I really do want them to be in this. But Emmanuel Quickley contract situation is still up in the air. Training camp next week, Chris. So that's another domino to fall. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see how it plays out. But like you said, it's not really the MO, of the front office to make a move like this. Hopefully, like you said, they do, and we're wrong, and they go out and surprise us. But I give it like a 30% chance too. I mean, as excited as I am, the reality is you're gonna have teams that probably don't have as many assets, but they're gonna go off and get another team involved and try to make something happen. So, look, again, if it just so happens we don't end up with Jrue Holiday and we have Emmanuel Quickley, we end up extending him, then that's a good thing to have too. I just think, in my opinion, like you said, you're trading for Emmanuel Quickley's ceiling. And why not have that now rather than wait, and you might not ever get it depending on how things play out with Quickley. But I think it's a risk worth taking. We'll see how it plays out. But you never know. You never know in this league.
You never know. Once again, the Knicks can beat out any package. We have all of our assets, and we can just go out and get a Jrue Holiday if we wanted to. So we'll see. Emmanuel Quickley's contract still up in the air. That will be the domino to fall. If we see that the Knicks obviously extend Emmanuel Quickley, then we know that they're out on the Jrue Holiday sweepstakes. So we just wanted to come on here and give our thoughts about the Jrue Holiday situation. Obviously, Chris and I would like him on the New York Knicks, not giving up too much. I'm excited that training camp opens up next week. We get to see the guys in the gym again. Brunson, Randall, the whole nine. And another year of Knicks basketball is upon us, Knicks Nation. I'm excited for it all.
Yes.
Season is coming soon, and I just can't wait to get it started. Another episode in the books, Chris.
I love it, man.
Love it as well, man. This was a good one. Leon Rose, do the right thing, please. I'm Anthony. That is Chris. We'll catch you guys in the next time. Peace.
Peace.